Ouranosaurus, everybody's favorite tall neural-spined ornithopod. Despite its incredibly cool appearance, Ouranosaurus really isn't a dinosaur that shows up too frequently in popular media, which is absolutely insane because have you seen Ouranosaurus? It's an absolutely beautiful animal. Look at that striking sail. Quite a shame. Fortunately though, the Jurassic franchise has granted us with 2 appearances of Ouranosaurus. One in Jurassic World Evolution, done by Frontier, and one in Camp Cretaceous, the Netflix animated series. So of course you know the drill. Let's go ahead and take a look at these designs and see how much they differ to our understanding of the animal. Our current understanding of the animal. Of course the 2 designs are actually vastly different from each other too, so I will be looking at them separately from each other. Now to reiterate, I like to bring this up every so often, this is in no way a slight on the designs. I actually really love these designs and I think they're absolutely fantastic on their own. So any differences that I find between them and our current understanding of the animal are in no way a dig at the design choices for them. Believe me, if I don't like a design, I'll let you know. The main point of these videos is simply to educate about the real animal and not to tear down the media's design of that animal. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We will go ahead and start off with Jurassic World Evolution and their interpretation of one Ouranosaurus. I absolutely love it here. I think it looks so cool. It looks so different from most of the other dinosaurs that show up here, especially the other ornithopods that you see. It's just one that I really love to put in my parks. But let's go ahead and take a look at the differences. So probably the main one is that it's a lot more stubby and kind of robust compared to the real life animal. Like looking at Ouranosaurus' skeleton, it's a lot more elongated in things like the body and in the snout. However, on the snout and the head does seem pretty decent, aside from the fact that it's a lot more stubby, but it does seem to have kind of some soft tissue on the top of it. This is something that is speculative for Ouranosaurus and other dinosaurs like Maiasaura, so I can't really say if this is too much of an accuracy, but it's really cool it's included here. Its neck is also extremely stubby, and it has very short limbs in general compared to, the real animal. Now, of course, the elephant in the room, that being their interpretation of the very famous sail. Now, they opted for more so a hump-like design, which I love. I think it looks very cool for their idea of Ouranosaurus. But how likely is this? Is this accurate to the real-life animal? Well, basically, there's always been sort of a debate on whether or not dinosaurs like Ouranosaurus and Spinosaurus had a sail or if they had a hump. Because, of course, their tall neural spines are extremely similar to that of the ones on a bison, an animal that does have a hump. So that question has been brought up quite a bit. And so in order to find the likelihood of that, we will of course have to look at a bison hump. Now, structurally, these spines do look extremely similar to the ones present on the bison. They are a lot more rectangular and wider in general. So it does seem like they would have a similar function. However, on a bison, they do kind of like really spike up in between the shoulders and then level out when the rest of the animal continues. Whereas with Ouranosaurus, they have a huge spike in between the shoulders, but then they continue with that spike and are kind of consistently high up until they start to lower on the tail, which is something that's completely different to the bison. The bison also has that hump to help support its head and neck. And so because of that, the spines do have ligament attachments that help support something like that. Those ligament attachments are not something that are present on Ouranosaurus, so it seems incredibly likely that Ouranosaurus had a sail rather than a hump. So this is more than likely a difference between the 2 animals. It's still very cool though. But next up we have Camp Cretaceous and their design of Ouranosaurus. As I mentioned, it differs quite a bit from Frontier's interpretation of the animal. It's actually a lot more elongated, however it is kind of shrink wrapped, as in, it's very skinny. It needs some food, basically. But the elongation is definitely something that's a lot more closer to accuracy wise, like it has a longer snout, as well as a little bit of a longer neck, and a little bit more of an elongated body. Things that definitely help it match up with Ouranosaurus' skeleton in general. The front limbs do seem pretty good, and I forgot to mention the front limbs on Jurassic World Evolutions looks pretty good too. But the biggest thing, and this is something that Colton Todd mentioned, is that the sail, now the sail, it is portrayed as a sail rather than a hump. However, it is also shown with a back that has a little bit more of an arch to it, kind of like they combined the sail with the hump idea a little bit. in reality, Ouranosaurus had a back that was a little bit more horizontal, especially when it stood up on its hind limbs. It definitely wasn't as arched as this, and it didn't have that big of a sail, especially in comparison to Spinosaurus. But it was definitely longer than it was portrayed in Camp Cretaceous. As mentioned, it seems like there's a lot more back than there is sail on this design of Ouranosaurus. But that aside, it does seem to have that kind of ornamentation on its snout, much like the other design. This does kind of look a little bit more like a crest rather than soft tissue. Either way, something like that is still speculative. But yeah, really, across the board, these are both really good designs of the animal and ones that I really do like. Ouranosaurus is a dinosaur that I do think should show up in media a little bit more. It's just one of those dinosaurs that I think stands out. You know, most people, when they hear of sailed-back dinosaurs, they will think of Spinosaurus more than anything, which is 100% fair because Spinosaurus is incredibly awesome and it definitely deserves all of the attention that it gets. But Ouranosaurus, of course, does deserve a lot of attention too. You know, we don't really see herbivorous dinosaurs with structures like this. It's something that, well, actually, it's something that's not common in dinosaurs in general. So to see it pop up wherever it does is definitely a really cool thing to see. And once again, its designs in both of these properties are really, really good, and I really like them. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.